Gonna take a second here. Digitigrade and plantigrade legs are different forms of skeletal structure in the leg. Digitigrade legs have you standing on the toe, so cats, dogs, that sort of thing. Plantigrade has you standing on the foot, humans, bears, etc., etc. At this point in the picture, the kids have digitigrade legs and Grandpa has plantigrade legs. I will fix it. I'll start by talking about Flounder. I don't want to describe what he looks like because I won't do a good job of it. He's kind of a fairly standard looking cat, but very cute. I'll get some pictures of him next time I'm at work and I'll put him in the next video. He is very sweet cat. He is so cuddly. I used to try and draw on my breaks at work, but then I remembered sleep is a thing that humans need, and now I just take 25 minutes to nap and he'll sit on me. And he is so cute. And he is so warm and cute. And sometimes he sits on the table and I just pet him, and sometimes he sits in my lap and I hold him, and he rubs my face with his face, or he rubs my hands with his face, or he claws me like a little chain, but not actually on purpose, like he needs me, but he's got claws because he is a cat, and that doesn't hurt too bad because he's only got little claws, but it don't feel great. But Flounder's so cute. I love Flounder. Flounder doesn't have any kitty friends. He's not allowed in the cat room in case he bothers them. Poor little guy. We don't do daycare for cats, but we do board them. And Flounder's not allowed in there, and obviously he's not allowed around the dogs because not all of them like cats. So he'll run around in the hallways where the dogs aren't, and he'll run around upstairs, but he only has human friends. Makes me sad. We give him lots of love though. James says he's spoiled. I don't think he's spoiled enough. Genuinely though, I don't know why he's with us. He probably should be rehomed. I love him, but he deserves better than he can get at a place that really doesn't have time to dedicate to a cat, you know? Like, boarding cats they go home eventually. Boarding dogs, they go home. They get all the one-on-one time that you can't give a cat when you're working, and I think he should get rehomed, but not my choice. Anyway, you never actually got to your turtle tattoo. You talked about fibromyalgia, but you didn't explain the tattoo, and I am curious. Peppermint oil works kind of like icy hot. The menthol in it gives a cold feeling but also a warm feeling, and it helps the muscles. You put it in a carrier oil because if you put it on without a carrier oil, you can give yourself chemical burns. I didn't know that when I first started using peppermint oil. Luckily, I am not particularly sensitive to peppermint oil because I never got chemical burns, but don't try it. Anyway, what you do is after you put the peppermint in the carrier oil, you spread it on the sore area. It's for muscles, it's topical, and it's for muscle aches. It can also be used, or at least I also use it to help the swelling I get in my knees and on my lower back. I just put 1 part peppermint to 2 parts jojoba oil, and it should actually be, I learned this recently, so I'm not trying to give you bad advice, I just barely learned that I was wrong in my measurements. It should be 1 part peppermint to about 4 parts carrier oil. Jojoba and almond are the recommended carrier oils. I like jojoba, and partially because I have it, and also you can just buy peppermint oil meant for topical use. I make my own because it's cheaper. You can get jojoba oil and peppermint oil in bulk, and it's cheaper and it doesn't take that long. I actually genuinely dislike peppermint, the smell and the taste, but it works well enough for me that I will use it. And Mom is like, wow, it smells so good in here. I'm sorry you're in pain. Because she can always tell if it smells like peppermint, my knees are bad. It's kind of funny and kind of sad. I meet your Yodel Techno with Techno Swing. Techno Swing is not as inherently bizarre as Yodel Techno, but I do love it. And it's a much bigger genre, so you're gonna find a lot more of it. But Yodel Techno's great. I love it. I know the G.I. Joes you played with because Grandma kept them, and I played with those G.I. Joes too, with Dax. She kept them in a shoebox in her closet, and she had fixed some of them up with string and rubber bands because they had come apart, and we played with them all of the time. We also played Monopoly. I also hate Monopoly. And Risk. Both of them. Any strategy game that lasts more than 30 minutes is too long. Honestly, any board game that lasts more than 30 minutes is probably too long for me. I don't really like board games. So I know that Nathan loves games, so I'm not surprised the rest of them do. One time at one of the big family reunions with all of your siblings and all of their kids, Nathan brought a game where we were all, it was like a computer game kind of, but it also set up so that each of us had a station, and we were set up around the room at these stations. And I don't know if it was like billed as straight up Star Trek, or if it was like, this is like Star Trek, but we can't use the brand name. We didn't play it for very long because I didn't know what the hell was happening. If I remember correctly, Nathan actually got pretty upset with me. Not like super upset, but like really frustrated because to him it was very simple, but as a person who doesn't play board games or card games or any kind of that sort of strategy game very often, he was just like, what is going on? And he was apparently not feeling super patient that day, I guess. I feel like that reunion was at Uncle Warren's, but when we do reunions at a family house, it's usually Uncle Milo's. So I could be wrong, but it was also a really long time ago. There weren't as many grandkids, so we could do it in a smaller space. I would have been in my 20s, I think, maybe my teens, late teens. I don't think Grandma was alive. I don't think it was that long ago, but it was a ways ago. I just remember the basement smelled of wet because it's got a high water table. Didn't love it, didn't love it. Family reunion was nice. Sleeping in the basement with wet as a desert rat, not my favorite. Like, the basement wasn't wet, everything was dry, but you could tell that the ground around it was wet by the smell. I don't know if that makes sense, but it smelled wet. Anyway, just sitting down and drawing a piece is something I do. I don't do a mock-up for every piece. But if I'm doing a more serious piece, I will do a mock-up for it. Kind of. I mean, so what you're seeing me doing is kind of a mock-up, but it's going to be the final piece too. When I do it digital, I can just do it all on one canvas. I don't have to do multiple files. So this is a mock-up, but it's also going to end up being the final piece in the same file, if that makes sense. So it doesn't feel like a mock-up to me because it's not actually in a different place. It's a weird mental thing. I am doing the same thing I would be doing if it were a mock-up, which is just figuring out where things are. So it's basically a mock-up. I would consider the part earlier where I was doing legs on the purple canvas, the canvas with the purple background, more of a mock-up than this, but that might just be my brain being weird. The part I find funniest is that Josh will take my black and white mock-ups and put colors on them when he wants me to pay attention to stuff, or like my other classmates do their mock-ups in black and white just naturally. But if he wants to add something or wants us to pay attention to something in specific, he'll just pick a random color and do it in that color. So he's using the colors in the same way I use the colors, which is to differentiate something or draw the eye to a specific place. I think what confuses him about mine is I use so many different colors, and because of the way my brain works, having the colors, having so many of them helps me. Whereas he's like, these are the 3 things I need to focus on. Let's put them in bright filth and pink. So what to me is a really helpful use of color is to him a lot of visual noise, because he's used to having 3 things that he's supposed to be focusing on in color, whereas I'm like, I don't want things that are overlapping to be in the same color because then I can't tell which bit is which. So I actually can't tell if what you're looking at as I talk is something that makes sense to you, because it doesn't make sense to a lot of people. Apparently the way my brain works is not uber common. I don't know. It's really helpful to me to have everything in these different colors. Like, I can tell where everything is, but it might be really confusing to you. It might be as confusing to you as it is to Josh. I don't know. I was really excited when I found some colored mechanical pencils in color. There are like 6 colors and I use them to sketch now a lot of the time, and it's great. I love it. I'm used to sketching in gray pencil, but also it's nice not to have to, because if I make enough changes to a drawing and all of it's gray, then the gray just kind of fades into each other. It builds up and that part of it is just really dark, and it doesn't matter. I can't see anything. I don't know how interested you actually are in the program I use. I use Krita, which is a free open source program. Most people use Adobe Photoshop or Procreate if they're using a Mac, I think. A lot of people use Corel too. The first digital program I used was Artweaver, which I didn't love. It was the free version. I can't tell you anything about the paid version. Then I used Manga Studio, which I also didn't love. I really liked Psy. The problem with Psy is that it only saves in RGB, which is meant to be displayed on a screen, which is great if you're displaying your art on a screen, but I wanted to be able to print my art. And printing colors are CMYK, cyan, magenta, black, and yellow. And if you print something off a file that's saved in red, green, blue, it's gonna look weird when it's printed in CMYK. Long story short, I moved to Krita because it can save in multiple color spaces. I can't wait to see the mock-up of the editor badge. I'm so excited. I have no issues editing your videos. It's super easy. It is a few cuts and then it's done. To contrast, I have 78 voiceover tracks right now. Like, what you do is you just script it and go. I bullet point things for myself, and then I have to come up with what I'm going to say, kind of riffing and off the cuff, and then I have to edit out the bits that didn't work. And I don't go through the full thing every time. I do it in short clips. Like, one idea, 1 30 to 40 second idea clip, and then each clip has to be cut a little bit to get out the ums, the ahs, and to fit it together with the last clip well. So basically, your last video took I don't know, 20 cuts. Mine has taken several hundred. Editing your stuff is really easy. Honestly, it's probably in the thousands of cuts at this point, plus other stuff like speeding up the art. I do this to myself. I could script stuff. I am doing it to myself, make no mistake. It's my own fault. I also have a recording of the art that I'm doing, and I could script what I say and then match the speed of the art to that, but I don't. I speed it up to a specific amount. I think this one, all the clips of the art was sped up to 1,500%, and that put me at about 12 minutes, and so now I have to fill about 12 minutes. I got my bullet points and a prayer. Let's be real, I don't even have that. I'm not religious. I don't think either method is better or worse. In writing, a lot of the time it's called plotters versus pantsers. Pantsers, P-A-N-T-S-E-R-S. Plotters plot out their story before they start writing it. Pantsers fly by the seat of their pants. That's where it comes from the saying fly by the seat of your pants. You just go with the flow, basically, and that's kind of what I do here. It takes a lot longer, at least in this editing version, not necessarily in writing, but at least in this editing version of pantsing, it takes a lot longer. I can't reliably say it's better, but I also can say that I could not reliably follow a script, so this is what I do. I also have to edit over any swear words I put in the picture, which also takes time. I cut to the talk versus talking to the cut in the other videos I do because those are not about just chit-chatting, because like this is just about us talking, but Batter Up is about how I do character creation and Fumble Through is about how I decided to do a picture. There's a lot more intent in the voiceover, so I cut to the voiceover for that. I make the length of the video the length of the voiceover. Anyway, you may notice I have written on this here picture, wondering if the mom werewolf sitting with the kid should have hair or just fur, and asking how human mom should be standing. So, any ideas on that? Cause this is collaborative now. I've decided. Ha 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 ha. But yeah, it's a family reunion. The daughter-in-law saying, "Hi, Dad." The daughter is trying to comfort the kid. The toddler's just happy to be there. I don't know how to have the daughter-in-law standing. Like, obviously she's bending over the chair, but I don't know how to do her legs. And I don't know if I should give the werewolf mom, like, long hair or just leave her basically bald. No idea. Anyway, 12 minutes. Bye!